If you ever saw an elephant standing on a rooftop, you'd immediately wonder how it got there. That's exactly how archaeologists sometimes feel about the discoveries they uncover. It's also how scientists react to those same discoveries. Not everything we find about the distant past makes sense to our modern understanding, and in this video, we're going to prove it to you. So, get ready to have your understanding of ancient history completely turned upside down. Number 15. Maria, the extraterrestrial mummy. Peru became one of the biggest centers for ancient astronaut theories after several unusual mummies were presented publicly as possible non-human beings. The most famous example is Maria, a woman mummy with elongated features and three-fingered hands that immediately triggered worldwide debate. Supporters claimed the remains represented proof of alien life hidden for centuries inside Peru's desert regions. Of course, scientists and archaeologists responded with heavy criticism almost immediately. Several researchers argued that the bodies showed signs of deliberate manipulation using genuine human remains combined with modified bones. Independent studies later suggested many features could be explained through known burial practices, damage, or artificial alterations performed much later. The controversy became even more intense because Peru already contains real archaeological mysteries, such as the Nazca lines and elongated skull burials. Ancient astronaut supporters often use those finds to argue that advanced visitors influenced early civilizations. Many historians think these theories damage the legacy of ancient cultures by suggesting their feats could only exist through alien help. Number 14. The 9.7-million-year-old tooth. This single fossil tooth, found in Germany, created a problem scientists did not expect. Experts examining ancient remains near the town of Eppelsheim noticed that one tooth looked strangely similar to those connected with early human ancestors previously found only in Africa. At first, the team assumed something must be wrong. The dating was checked repeatedly because the age of the surrounding material pointed to nearly 10 million years in the past. That timeline causes immediate confusion. According to accepted human evolution, creatures with such traits were not supposed to exist in Europe during that period. The possibility raised uncomfortable questions about how incomplete the fossil record may actually be. Scientists remained cautious because one isolated tooth cannot rewrite the history of humanity by itself. Still, discoveries like this tend to linger in scientific discussion long after headlines disappear. Human origins already contain enormous gaps filled with uncertainty, migration, and vanished species. Sometimes it takes only one unexpected tooth fossil buried in the wrong place to remind scientists how fragile and missing many historical timelines really are when new evidence suddenly appears. Number 13. Stone head of Salaspils. For years, the stone head of Salaspils sat unnoticed in a churchyard as though it were nothing more than an ordinary piece of rock. Nobody realized the strange carving might hold historical importance until much later, after the object resurfaced and eventually reached a museum in Latvia. The sculpture shows a human face carved into a massive boulder standing several feet tall. But almost everything about its origin remains uncertain. Stories surrounding its discovery differ depending on who tells them. One version claims a farmer uncovered the stone while plowing fields during the 19th century before handing it to a stonemason who suspected it might be valuable. Researchers examining the carving believe iron tools were likely used to shape the facial features, although determining the exact age of the stonework is very difficult. Some historians think the head may have served as a religious idol connected to ancient Baltic traditions because of similarities with other sacred stone figures found across northern Europe. We mean, even now, the sculpture feels strangely isolated from history. Well, just look at it. Number 12, the ancient screw fossil mystery. Few discoveries create arguments faster than objects that appear completely out of place in history. One of the strangest examples is a fossilized formation some people insist resembles a metal screw trapped inside ancient rock estimated to be around 300 million years old. Scientists who examined the object offered a far less dramatic explanation, arguing that the shape most likely belongs to a crinoid fossil, a type of ancient marine creature related to sea lilies. Supporters of the more controversial theory were not convinced. They pointed to the unusually clear spiral pattern and even claimed X-rays revealed another screw-like shape hidden deeper inside the stone. The problem is that independent researchers have never been given full access to examine the artifact properly, leaving the entire debate stuck in uncertainty. Believers in ancient advanced civilizations, aliens, or even time travel often use the object as supposed evidence for impossible events in Earth's distant past. Without proper scientific study, the fossil continues sitting in a strange place where speculation grows faster than facts ever can. Number 11. Gerard Mercator's North Pole Map. When Gerard attempted to map the North Pole during the 16th century, he was trying to describe a place no European had ever truly seen. The result became one of the strangest maps in history. Mercator imagined the Arctic as 4 enormous islands separated by rivers flowing toward a gigantic magnetic mountain sitting directly at the pole itself. His work also included tiny human figures living among the frozen regions, adding even more mystery to the drawing. Despite how bizarre parts of the map appear today, Mercator was not considered careless or foolish. He was actually one of the greatest cartographers of his time and helped develop the famous Mercator projection still recognized in modern maps. The problem was simple. Very little reliable information existed about the Arctic world, forcing mapmakers to depend on rumors, travelers' tales, and imagination. Some historians believe Mercator copied details from older lost documents that may themselves have mixed mythology with geography. Whatever the truth may be, the map captures a moment when exploration and fantasy still overlapped in the minds of scholars. Number 10. A Guide to Exorcising a Ghost. In the archives of the British Museum sits a Babylonian clay tablet dating back almost 3,500 years, and what makes it remarkable is not only the writing but the strange ritual described on its surface. The tablet contains detailed instructions for dealing with a restless spirit believed to be haunting the living. Historians consider it one of the oldest known guides to exorcism ever discovered. The ritual involved creating 2 figurines from clay or wax. One represented the ghost while the second acted as a companion meant to guide the spirit away peacefully. Food, beer, and ceremonial offerings were placed before the figures while prayers were recited, asking the spirit to leave the human world behind. After the ritual ended, the figurines were wrapped carefully and buried before sunrise. Babylonian priests believed this symbolically provided the ghost with a new resting place so it would stop wandering among the living. What makes the tablet mysterious is how organized the instructions feel. Ancient Mesopotamians treated ghosts almost like medical conditions requiring precise procedures rather than simple superstition or fear. Number 9. Tutankhamun's Scarab Brooch. Among the countless treasures discovered inside Tut's tomb, one small object managed to attract enormous attention for a reason few people expected. The artifact was a scarab brooch decorated with a yellowish stone made from desert glass formed nearly 28 million years ago. Scientists believe the glass originated when a meteor or comet exploded over the Sahara with such force that the sand melted under extreme heat and hardened into glass across huge sections of the desert. Ancient Egyptians later collected fragments of this rare material and shaped them into jewelry fit for royalty. The scarab itself became especially important because it showed the Egyptians recognized something extraordinary about the stone long before modern science understood where it came from. Desert glass can still be found scattered across parts of the Sahara today, although its origin remained a mystery for centuries. Some researchers believe the Egyptians may have connected the material with the heavens because of its unusual appearance and rarity. Whether symbolic or decorative, the scarab reveals how deeply ancient civilizations valued objects touched by events far beyond Earth itself. Number 8. The mystery of Archaim. This ancient circular settlement in the southern Ural steppe of Russia was found accidentally in 1987 before the area was scheduled to be flooded for a reservoir project. Archaeologists immediately realized the site was extraordinary. The city dated back nearly 4,000 years and had been built using a highly organized circular design with defensive walls, streets, drainage systems, and carefully planned residential sections. Researchers later discovered that parts of Archaim aligned with important astronomical events, including solstices and equinoxes. Because of those alignments, some people began calling it the Russian Stonehenge. The site quickly attracted not only historians, but also mystics, UFO enthusiasts, and people interested in ancient civilizations with advanced knowledge. Another reason Archaim became controversial involves reports of unusual magnetic activity around the area. Visitors occasionally described compass disturbances, strange sensations, and electronic interference, although no scientific evidence confirmed paranormal activity. Most archaeologists view Archaim as a great Bronze Age settlement built by the Sintashta culture. Still, the city's isolated location and mysterious design continue feeding theories about forgotten knowledge buried beneath the Russian steppe. Number 7. The Gundestrup Cauldron. The Gundestrup Cauldron looks less like an ordinary vessel and more like a collection of myths hammered into silver. Discovered inside a peat bog in Denmark during the 19th century, the massive artifact dates back roughly 2,200 years and remains one of the largest examples of Iron Age silverwork ever found in Europe. When workers uncovered it, the cauldron had been dismantled into separate plates, almost as though somebody had intentionally taken it apart before placing it in the bog. The detailed scenes covering the silver panels continue to confuse historians because the imagery does not neatly belong to one culture. Celtic figures appear beside symbols connected to the Near East, while artistic techniques suggest influences from regions far beyond Scandinavia. Some researchers believe craftsmen from Thrace or Gaul may have created it before the object somehow traveled north into Denmark. Human figures, strange animals, and ceremonial scenes cover nearly every surface, but nobody can fully explain what kind of story the images were meant to tell. Number 6. Dragon houses on Mount Ochi. High in the mountains of Euboea, Greece, enormous stone structures known as the dragon houses continue puzzling archaeologists because nobody fully understands who built them or why. The buildings are constructed from massive stone blocks fitted together without mortar, and some individual stones weigh several tons. Despite centuries of weather and earthquakes, many of the structures still remain standing today. Researchers generally date the dragon houses to around the 7th or 8th century BC, although no written records clearly explain their purpose. Some historians believe they were shelters, watchtowers, or religious sites connected to ancient mountain rituals. Local legends, however, describe them very differently. Stories from the region claim the buildings belong to dragons or giant beings connected to the gods of Greek mythology. Mount Ochi itself became associated with sacred traditions because ancient Greeks often viewed isolated mountains as places where humans could communicate with divine forces. The mystery surrounding the dragon houses survives because their construction still feels strangely out of place. So, what do you think about it? Number 5. The meteorite that changed the course of Christianity. In central Italy, near the town of Abruzzo, lies Lake Sirente, a circular lake many geologists think may have formed from a meteorite impact hundreds of years ago. What makes the theory fascinating is the possible timing. Radiocarbon studies from the surrounding area suggest a major event may have occurred around 312 C, the same year Roman Emperor Constantine witnessed a strange glowing symbol before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. Ancient accounts describe Constantine seeing a bright cross-like vision in the sky, followed by a command promising victory. Soon afterward, Christianity began rising rapidly within the Roman Empire. Swedish researcher Jens Orm later proposed that a meteor explosion or atmospheric bolide could explain the mysterious light witnessed before the battle. Supporters of the theory argue that a massive fireball entering Earth's atmosphere may have created an enormous glowing formation visible across central Italy. Most historians still interpret Constantine's vision through religious or symbolic explanations rather than astronomy. Even so, the possibility that a cosmic event influenced one of history's most important turning points remains strange to imagine today. Number 4. The Tunguska explosion misconception. Most people know about the Tunguska explosion that flattened forests in Siberia in 1908. But recently, geologists found another damaged area deep in the mountains of Yakutia that raised uncomfortable questions. Burned trees were lying in the same direction, rocks looked exposed to intense heat, and the ground carried signs of a violent shock wave. At first, it looked like an ordinary fire zone. Then the testing began. Scientists found traces of melted quartz along with metals like iridium and nickel, materials commonly connected to cosmic impacts. The pattern looked strangely familiar to Tunguska. The real surprise came after radiocarbon dating. The destruction did not appear modern at all. According to the samples, the event may have happened nearly 1,000 years before the famous Tunguska blast. That changes the entire picture. It suggests these mysterious air explosions may have happened repeatedly across Siberia long before modern science existed to record them. The forests eventually returned, but the land still carries the marks of whatever exploded above it. So, did you have any theory about it? Number 3. The Tangier Peninsula Cyst Burial. Northern Morocco has always stood between worlds, facing both the Mediterranean and the Atlantic, and archaeologists working on the Tangier Peninsula found evidence that people there practiced complex burial traditions far earlier than expected. One discovery became especially important after researchers found a stone-lined cyst burial dating back roughly 4,000 years. The tomb itself looked simple from above, yet every detail appeared carefully planned. Flat stone slabs formed a sealed chamber around a single body placed with deliberate care rather than random burial. Archaeologists believe the structure reflects organized ritual behavior and spiritual beliefs already developing in Northwest Africa during the Bronze Age. Nearby discoveries deepened the mystery further. Rock shelters contained painted symbols resembling artwork found across the Sahara, suggesting ancient cultural connections stretching across vast regions. Standing stones rising several feet above the landscape were also discovered nearby, though their purpose remains uncertain. It reveals fragments of a culture we barely understand. Number 2. The ancient alien technology. Back in 2014, something slammed into the Pacific Ocean near Papua New Guinea at a speed that instantly caught attention. Years later, Harvard professor Avi Loeb decided to go looking for whatever survived the impact. Most meteorites burn apart or sink into silence, but this object was different from the beginning. According to data released by the U.S. Space Command, the object was moving so fast that there was a strong possibility it came from outside our solar system entirely. While searching the ocean floor, the expedition recovered tiny metallic spheres scattered through the seabed. Some looked gold, others blue or brown, and a few resembled miniature planets covered in melted metal. Laboratory tests showed unusual combinations of iron, magnesium, silicon, and titanium. Even stranger, the material looked stronger than ordinary meteorites recorded before. Loeb believes these fragments may not be natural space debris at all. If he is right, humanity may already be studying pieces of technology that were never made on Earth. Number 1. The monolithic temple of Malinalco. Hidden within the cliffs of central Mexico, the temple at Malinalco feels totally different from most Aztec ruins. It's not just stacked stones assembled together, the structure was carved directly into the mountainside itself. Entire chambers, stairways, and ceremonial spaces were sculpted from solid volcanic rock with remarkable precision. The main chamber, known as Kwao Kali, contains carved eagle and jaguar figures connected to elite Aztec warrior societies. But several experts think parts of the site may predate the Aztecs entirely. Some stone surfaces appear so smooth and carefully shaped that archaeologists still debate what tools were used during their construction. Spanish chroniclers described Malinalco as a place tied with sorcery, rituals, and the goddess Malinalxochitl long before colonial conquest reached the region. Even accessing the temple remained difficult for modern explorers. After the structure was rediscovered in the 1930s, researchers needed years simply to clear pathways into the main sections. So, how was it actually made? Well, drop your wild theories down below. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more mysteries like this. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.